hedges was looking for me. Here I am, bitch. Get your heart out.
Actor, performer, writer, content creator, and creative comedic genius. Hilary Fillier is a force to be reckoned with.
I don't know if it's a fastball or a curveball, but she threw it hard.
Why would she do that?
Because she's batshit crazy. How the hell should I know?
If you've had the privilege of working with this powerhouse or seeing her on stage, you will know what I mean. She doesn't just stand out, she commands attention. What's her secret?
I'm an artist.
Who's making you
Artist.
Own who you are, create your own work, pave your own path, and let your freak flag fly.
You know, every hour on the hour, I switch wine hands and I do 10 of these. One.
Marvelous Messy Middle, we have Hilary Fillier, and I am so thrilled to have you here and chatting with us and interviewing you and getting into your mind and your heart and your soul. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Hilary, you are a brilliant actor, a performer, a writer. You've been a co-founder of a theater company. You're working on a few different projects right now. So I'm just wondering, where did this all start for you? Like, when did you start to feel that sort of creative genius inside of you? Was it when you were younger? Did it start to happen when you were a little bit older?
Oh, I think you're giving me so much credit right now. Thank you, Erica. Creative genius and things coming out of your mouth. Thank you. A little bit too much. No, I've always been a little quirky. Like I said, I think if you ask my mother, she tells the story that she remembers me like writing little like actual storybooks about mice. I don't remember that, but apparently I would like tie them together with ribbon and everything, so they'd be in a little storybook and all that stuff. So I think it started very young, me being just the way I am. Now, the journey to accepting who I am and accepting my quirkiness is a whole other story. But I think I've always been just generally strange and had that weird creative brain.
So many artists I find at a young age do have those little weirdo things about them. And it's funny how often, there's this kind of it's hard for the world sometimes to accept those things about us. And so it becomes a bit of a self-worth thing, but really that's part of the beauty and the genius of what we do.
Totally. It is. Yeah. I think I do think it's a long journey to get to accepting yourself as a weird creative type, because, I don't think there's a lot of value really put in being a quirky, weird creative type. There's a lot of value put into kind of conforming to the norm. Get the 9-to-5 job, do that kind of a thing. But of course, we know that a lot of creative endeavors don't fit into a 9-to-5 kind of, desk job space. So it's a lot of working on yourself and a lot of finding out what you want to do and finding something that makes you passionate to do it outside of work hours as well.
Yeah. So can you speak a little bit about this story, about being able to learn to accept the quirky part of you?
Yeah. I think as I was growing up, I always did a lot of, I did all the theater shows in school, the acting, and I did public speaking and all of that as well. And I think public speaking was definitely a part of me trying to fit my quirky weirdness into a more, I don't know the word right now, but a more, I guess, convenient path for my future, because being an artist is oftentimes not convenient. It's a hard road sometimes. I think the more that I tried to push against my weird creativeness and who I am, the more I realized that it was not me and that I needed to let my freak flag fly, for a lack of a better term, because that's what makes me happy. Creativity and humor is definitely a way that I cope with the world. And I think my humor has just gotten a little bit darker. It's always been quite quirky and dark, but it's gotten a little darker, and it's definitely boosted my creative juices a little bit. The cauldron is bubbling a lot more these days, which is kind of nice.
Comedy obviously is something that is your special gift. I mean, you do have a thing about comedy. So what is it about comedy, flying your freak flag? What is it about that that's so important and valuable to you to bring to your creativity?
I think really why I like comedy so much is that I truly believe that, comedy comes out of tragedy. So, yeah, comedy comes out of tragedy, and some really funny things just happen. And there's just so much in life that we can't like, oh, I don't even know how to express it. It's just, there's so many things in life that we can't control, that you know we're just at a loss of power as we go through things. And all that I can do in my experience is laugh to find my way through it, and find that weird happy moments in it. And if there aren't any happy moments in the tragedy, I can turn it into something funny, because awkwardness is funny. And a lot of the tragic, bad things that we go through are also very, very awkward. Um, so I guess that goes into my whole geriatric millennial persona, which is just beginning. It's in the beginning stages. I came up with that name because I'm young. I am part of the millennial generation, but I just feel so. I feel like I'm 85, 90 years old every single day. So I don't connect with like the generation below me, but I don't connect with the generation above me. I don't connect with my generation. I feel I'm just like this quirky little person out in the world doing her thing. So that kind of name, geriatric millennial, is a funny thing that came from that kind of hard, where do I find myself kind of moment, and accepting, and kind of radical acceptance and dialectic behavioral therapy of accepting who you are in this moment right now, and kind of how can you work with it. Yeah.
The artists that have had the deepest effect on my life have been ones who've been able to transform things, right?
Yeah.
And so it's moving part of it's an energy thing, moving it from something that is very difficult and traumatic to something that's having the ability to do that's really incredible. And then being able to find a window into your own personal voice in creativity is a whole other level. This is one of the things I love about having worked with you personally and seeing you as an artist, because it's so important and valuable to have your voice out there as opposed to just fitting ourselves into things as well. Tell me about, who is Pam and Paula?
Pam and Paula. Pam and Paula are characters that I co-created with my writing partner Joanna Ranelli. We, like, Pam and Paula have a TV show, so it's called The Morning After with Pam and Paula. It's a prime time television show. These women are best friends and have been best friends forever, and they've worked their butts off to become, the boss ass bitches that they are today. They're at the top of their game, and they've been doing this for years. Yeah, so they're just boss ass bitches doing what they do. They and as in any friendship and best friendship, you have, especially one that's lasted so long, you have little things that you can annoy each other with, and little things that you know how to push each other's buttons, but when you do that and how you use it is very, very interesting.
I'm Pam. And I'm Paula. Oh, Paula got a new hairdo there, did ya? I did. Who was your inspiration? I can't tell you. It was yours truly.
That's one thing about Pam and Paula, and I play Pam, Joanna plays Paula. That's one thing that both of us find really interesting in playing them.
Nice.
We had one iteration of Pam and Paula, I believe it was last year in November, that went up at the Havana. They've changed a lot since then. I really enjoyed putting our first Pam and Paula on stage, seeing what worked, what didn't work. Nothing is precious, throwing out what didn't work, keeping what did. And now we actually won the calf lottery for this year. But of course, 2020 kind of put everything up in flames. So we still have our spot for next year, which means hopefully, if festivals are, allowing outside artists, we'll be going on tour for the morning after with Pam and Paula. Pam and Paula also, this particular episode of Pam and Paula that people will be invited to come to a live taping of is very much surrounded or around body image, things like that. There's something that happens in the show that really rocks the foundation of the women's friendship, really rocks their inner self-worth, and they have to kind of get up and over that throughout the show. So yeah, we're going to attack diet culture as well, and all that kind of stuff is going to kind of be in there. Yeah.
What was the initial spark of this thing when you guys first initially wanted to write it and put it up? What made you decide this topic and these two characters?
Yeah, I know I'm going to speak for myself that, body image issues and self-worth have always been a thing that I've struggled with in my own life. Being, a larger woman in the entertainment industry, it's kind of hard to oftentimes find my place. And I think that along my, journey of being who I am today, it was very hard for me to see where I fit in. And I realized that I was going to have to, come to terms with me being me and just creating my own work. And I know that I have a lot of strengths and a lot of things to bring to the world. So using the comedic talent that I do have, to really just show that I can get it done. But when we were talking about Pam and Paul, I can't remember where they really came from, but I just remember it was like, Joanna and I are friends as well, good friends. And I think it was just us, having a friends night and just like shooting the shit, and all of a sudden these two names came. And I remember the time when the names came, we were like Pam and Paula. And it was just like, Pam and Paula, like we know who these women are. Oh my God, they're fantastic. This is going to be so fun. And so I think it was just that spark of, oh, this is going to be so fun, that really put us on the path to creating Pam and Paula. But then, along that, we also wanted to put in a message of things that, I've dealt with in my own life, and things that I know a lot of other individuals have dealt with in their lives as well. So dealing with those hard topics, again, through a comedic lens is always beneficial to me and healing to me in a way. So Pam and Paula is, I guess, a healing kind of thing for me as well.
When it comes to process of working on your own creative stuff, whether it be writing or performing, I know a lot of times they're kind of guided together. What's the internal process for you specifically like? Is it the same all the time, or does it change from project to project?
It's not the same all the time for me. When I'm doing things individually, it's a lot of sitting here and staring at the wall a little bit, because I like to work things out in my mind. I'm a very visual person in my mind. So I like to, if it's a stage play, I like to look at the stage in my mind. I'm creating it in my mind right now, but look at how the lighting's going to be, look at how I want the stage to look at, the set, everything, and how my character kind of fits into that. If I'm doing things like, say, I'm doing TikTok or something like that, maybe it's not that involved. I'm sitting here and I think of just an idea kind of comes to me and I'm like, that's funny. And if it makes me laugh, it's going to make someone else laugh. So I'm going to do it. But I think most of the ideas that I've had for myself, like in my own work, have been literally me, kind of sitting somewhere or being somewhere, and all of a sudden they just pop out of nowhere. Even when I'm asleep, I have very crazy dreams. So sometimes I'll wake up and just like write down what I've dreamt about, because it may work, it may not work, but sometimes it's really, really funny stuff. Yeah. And then when I have that, I can just take it and develop it a little bit more on paper. But yeah, it's really stuff that I do on my own is kind of like it's really going through it in my mind. And when something pops up, I have to get up and do it, kind of thing.
And what makes you decide which ideas you're going to expand on first?
When something cracks me up, even when it's, a serious thing. Because I always try to find the comedy in everything, but even when it's a serious thing, when it touches, probably not when it cracks me up, it's probably when it really makes an impact on me emotionally. Because some of the funniest ideas that I think I've had, have come out of times when there's a lot of sorrow and there's a lot of sadness. And then it comes around to that thing again where it's like everything is so bad right now that this is so ridiculous. It's so funny. So that's kind of how it will come about. And I'll find myself, like, if I've just been down in the dumps, I'll find myself laughing at some point because I'm like, I'm sitting here right now, whatever, like my hair is in a bun over here. I haven't showered. I haven't done this. I think we can all, we've all been in this place,
Yeah.
the majority of us, but seeing the humor in it, is kind of where I get my ideas. It's in those moments of being a real human, honestly, right? Really feeling things. And I think I try to, as I go through life, I try to really feel what I'm experiencing at any one time. And that's a relatively new thing for me, just in, the past few years, not pushing things away and trying to go gung-ho, just continue to go straight forward. I found that it's more beneficial for me as a creative person and as, a human being in general, to really just stop and feel those emotions, because if I'm, whether they're good or bad, um, I then know how they feel, and I can take those and use them in the future in my creative endeavors.
Yeah. Or like you say, transform that pain into something else, right? It's like,
completely.
it's not hiding away from it, which is really, that's a beautiful way to put it. I think a lot of people shut themselves down. And when you shut down from the pain, you also shut down from the joy and the beauty too. You don't get to choose
Completely.
what you shut down, you shut all of it down. And so I think that's something that people can learn who tend to just force through.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was that woman for many, many years, just forcing through. But like I said, I think just experiencing those very, very human moments, it not only, lets me experience it fully and move through it, but it's, that common humanity piece of, we all experience suffering, and, there's someone else in the world right now that's feeling this pain that I'm feeling, or feeling this joyous experience that I'm feeling, and it connects me with other people.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. No, thank you. It's inspiring to hear. And so with this pandemic, what kind of challenges have you personally been up against? Has it brought anything out? Has it changed your world drastically? What has it meant to you?
It's been a hard year for everyone, I know. But it's been a especially challenging year. I know that you've definitely helped me through some things too. So thank you, Erica, for listening, and for being there. No. My father passed at the beginning of this year, and he passed on the day that you and I and Joanna were actually doing a photo shoot for Pam and Paula. Um, we had scheduled that evening, and he passed. This was in March, so it was about like 6 days before the lockdown really came into effect. Um, and I have to say, just it was so great to go from his hospice bed, after he had left this world, and um, to step into a creative atmosphere with you guys. I know it's probably a choice that maybe some other people wouldn't have made, to still go and do, that creative thing, but that's what I needed at the moment. So that's what I did. And I'm very much about listening to what I need in the moment. But it's been challenging, because I think it's connected me with, that common humanity. It's connected me with a broader scope of people, on the world this year, because I think we've all been experiencing loss in a very different way this year. We haven't been able to really do our death rituals, whether that be, holding a funeral or gathering at our homes together, um, or whatever it may be. I know for me, it was a very strange experience to not be able to bring my father's ashes back to our home, which is we're from Newfoundland. So I still haven't been able to do that yet, and to have a proper goodbye and a proper burial where he wants to be put with his mother and father. And I think a lot of other people have experienced that right now. And in a way, it makes me feel connected, and it definitely makes me feel less isolated to know that a large majority of the world's population are also living in that limbo of not having closure right now. Um, but then again, I always try to find some sort of comedy in the tragedy. And my dad knows that very well about me. Um, we always did that when he was in the process of passing. And we've just always, related to each other in that way. So, Geriatric Millennial on TikTok, I've started to do TikToks with my dad, who is in an urn, a cherry box right now. Um, but I talked to my mom about it, and she was just like, "Yep, he would. Yeah, he'd approve. Yep, that's." Yep. He always said you were an interesting human being, so like, he would approve. But just having those sort of conversations that maybe I wanted to have, but I was never able to have because the decline came so quickly. So doing comedic TikToks to express some of those emotions and to work through it, I think is really going to be actually healing for me and kind of give me that closure that I want. Yeah.
Wow. And we're going to make sure to have a link to Geriatric Millennial on TikTok.
Thanks.
This is on TikTok, and YouTube is coming.
Yeah, YouTube is coming. That one's coming right now. Geriatric Millennial on TikTok just began. And I have some really great plans for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun on there. I think the power of social media, especially in this pandemic, how everyone kind of flocked to TikTok. I was on there before, and I remember telling everyone, like, this is so much fun. But people kind of didn't get it when I was telling them. But I love how the pandemic started, and everyone kind of needed an outlet and needed some humor. And everyone went over that way. And it's I think the power of social media, even though it has a lot of bad stuff associated with it, it also has a lot of good, and it's in how you use it, right?
Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always. That's so cool. I can't wait to see more. What
Thanks.
I think so far is hysterical.
Thanks.
Yeah. Darkly hysterical. My kind of comedy.
Dark humor. That's how I express myself best, I think.
I love it. I love it. And
Thanks.
so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but now with the pandemic as well, is there anything that you have found with this season that's been positive that's come out of it for you?
Yeah, it definitely, the positives that have come out of everything that's happened this year is it's really got my creative juices going. And you know Joanna and I having to reevaluate our whole tour, or is it going to happen in 2020? No, it didn't. 2021, who knows? It's kind of, I'm definitely a planner. And so it's forcing me to be a little bit more spontaneous and a little bit more flexible. And I see that as a positive, because it's teaching me to have that in my life a little bit more. Not everything needs to be planned out. Things can be fun and spontaneous. So I've also really enjoyed connecting with people in a different way over is it the Hangout app? Because we've connected on that quite a bit,
yes,
but over like virtually.
Yeah, party app.
The party app, yeah, all those sort of things. I've enjoyed that as well, because it's a different way of interacting with people. Of course, I think we're all having a bit of fatigue with that right now, but I think that was something positive that came out of it. New ways to interact with friends and family as well. So yeah, a lot of positives have come out of it. A lot of time to think, which is what I need for my creativity, like I said. And a lot of time to just kind of be in the moment and be in the feelings again, and then take what I can from that, turn it into something, or store it away for later use.
I love it. It's such a lesson for someone like me who's so much of an achiever that I get so busy achieving that I forget to just be. And actually being is where all the gold is, you know.
Totally.
It really
Yeah,
is. And
totally.
so what a beautiful lesson for anyone who feels like there is such a great loss that is happening. And that's something I can relate deeply to, not just in what I feel has been taken away, but feeling lost as a person.
Yeah.
But to remember that just in being that you are enough, and that's where creativity lies, and that's where the magic is. It's a very incredible. It's inspirational.
And there's so much power in just being a human.
I know
Just kind of.
it sounds so simple, right? But we don't do
Yeah.
it.
It sounds so simple that we're just, yeah, I'm a human being. I'm moving through the world. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm trying to reach my goals. I'm trying to do this. But really, I think, the pandemic taught me to slow down. It was kind of a slap in the face to everyone just to slow down, just stop. And I remember actually around that time, just before the pandemic became a big thing, I remember saying, "Oh my God, I just need everything to stop. Like there's too much happening. I just need everything to stop." And then, a week or two later, literally everything stopped. That was a bit too much for me, but literally
Like, what did
everything
I
stopped.
just do?
It's like, did I just what did I do? Did I just will this into existence that everything stopped? But no, I'm not that important. And but yeah, just having the moment to really, really stop and have to confront what I'm feeling is that was being human. Yeah.
And it's a gift when you look at it through that lens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to say that it doesn't have its challenges, but when looking at it through that lens, it's very much a gift. And for our lifetimes, really.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I think we live in a place that's just like in a world that's so fast,
Yeah.
that we get disconnected from each other on a whole different level. So yeah, I think this has really forced a lot of people. I know it's forced me to look at what are my priorities and what's really important to me in life in general. And I'm glad I've had the time to think about that.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much. Hilary, you're such an amazing woman. You're a champion of people. You are a rock star. You're beautiful. You're one of the most amazing and talented actors I've ever met and worked with.
Oh.
Privilege of directing, and I honor you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today.
Thank you, Erica. I really appreciate you having me here today and us just having this conversation. You're all of those things and more right back at you.
Thanks, babe.